Well, hello there. I'm Roger Ira Price, and I've been paying attention to what has been going on with this stuff in the streets and everything. And I don't care what politicians say. I don't care what all them fancy news guys say. It's quite obvious that this state of anarchy, you might call it, that's going on, is actually an orchestrated anarchy. Oh, it's being directed by somebody because it's just too smoothly progressing. Now, I got to look, and I got up and I got to paying attention, reading some of the old stuff that I had around here, and I was looking at the things that sayings. I got a bunch of quotes from different people. Oh, and if you get to looking at quotes from Hitler, you get to looking at quotes from that Karl Marx feller about the Communist Manifesto, and you get to paying attention to what that Saul Alinsky, that guy that the Obamas thought so highly of up there, wrote in some of his stuff, and look around. All of this follows a pattern. Now, you go back to this when it started with getting the stars and bars, the battle flag of the Confederacy outlawed in all these places. People's Star was tearing down statues and everything. Well, that's a heritage. That's a history. Now, if you go in and you look at some of the things that Karl Marx said, one of them was, keep people from their history, and they are easily controlled. That's interesting. Now, another one another thing Karl Marx said was, take away a nation's heritage, and they are more easily persuaded. Now, gee, isn't that what they've been doing? All this stuff they've been pushing on about, well, Black Lives Matter, that's not part of it, really, but it's in the same genre. And all this, them statues, and even poor old Christopher Columbus and all them guys, Robert E. Lee, they're taking away our heritage, and they're taking away our history, burning books and such. Well, you go on down, you pay attention, you look at something Hitler said. Made a lot of sense. That's exactly what's going on. He said, I use emotion for the many and reserve reason for the few. Now, if you play on the emotions of people, you can get them to do all kinds of stuff. You can stir them up and really get them going. But there's a few people in there you got to reason with. You got to convince them what you're doing and what you want them to do. Then you can get them going. Okay? Now, with all this stuff, tearing down, breaking up, causing disorganization, that Saul Alinsky feller, he said, all change means disorganization of the old and organization of the new. Well, they're disorganizing everything as much as possible, way to go along. Well, so that's going pretty good there for them. Now you get into this, I've wondered, watching, paying attention to this coronavirus, COVID-19 thing, and it's terrifying, the way they talk about it, and the way all these specialists are talking about it, and the way this World Health Organization and the media has been pushing it out there. Well, that Saul Alinsky, he was pretty smart. He said, the threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Well, it's the threat of catching COVID-19 that's scaring everybody. And from no matter how they talk, it don't seem like the results have been all that way out of the box type stuff. Now, another thing he said, Saul Alinsky, the greatest enemy of individual freedom is the individual himself. Now, just look at what all these people are giving up because they're scared to death of this COVID virus. It's just like, well, they created a war, these politicians and specialists and media. They created a war. COVID-19. That's kind of like back in the Cold War when they was teaching us in grade school and stuff to get under our desk if somebody was going to set off an atomic bomb. Don't know what good that had done, but that's what they were teaching us, and all this stuff that went on. Oh, they had a lot of people scared. There was a lot of bomb shelters built by people. Now, I can't see anything too good going on from all these riots and all this other stuff. That Antifa keeps flying back and forth around different cities and doing different things in different places, and now and then it looks to me I see the same people in some of these videos that they show of these places. So that shouldn't be. So they're not local people. Not if they're going from one place to another. I can't fault the people that's there. Me, if I was the police or that, I'd just back off and let them do it. If the people in the area got sick and tired of what the rabble-rousers was doing, they'd demand something different. Then you can start working with the people that's actually there. You know, the ones that are invested in the area. Oh, well. You know, that Hitler, though, he was a pretty smart feller. And he said, how fortunate for governments that the people they administer don't think. There ain't much thinking going on, because there's a lot of people getting up and shouting and carrying on and all excited, just in a bad state. Another thing he said, old Hitler himself, by the skillful and sustained use of propaganda, one can make a people see even heaven as hell, or an extremely wretched life as paradise. Now, you know, there's a lot of truth in that, because you sit there and you tell people the same right stuff a lot of times. Keep it telling them over and over, and, oh yeah, that's the way. You can. But I don't agree with all this good stuff. Now, one thing that I know was said by a feller I respect and like. He said the quality, not the longevity of one's life, is what is important. Now that, to me, is an absolute truth. That feller was Martin Luther King Jr. He had some peaceful demonstrations. He got a lot done that was good. There wasn't much trouble involved with it. Now, another feller I respect, and this is what I believe personally for myself, Is life so sweet or peace so dear as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Well, that was old Patrick Henry way back there for the battle for the War of Independence started, but I totally agree with that. I'd rather be on the other side of that curtain as a dead guy than live in a world where I didn't have my liberty. That's just the way I am. Now that Antifa bunch, they're scary to me because they're exactly like that bunch of brown shirts that was running around in Germany back in the 1930, 31, 32, 33. Now they say Antifa stands for anti-fascist, but them brown shirts were Hitler's boys putting him in power, and everybody says he was a fascist. Got to think about that. Talk to you again later.